And we both said, 2.5 to 3 years. Well, here we are 6 months later, and now it's 1.5 to 2.5 years. And they're going to pull the plug up in that area sometime. And so that would put us into 2011 and a half to 2012 and a half, somewhere in there, and that's when the whole house is going to fall down. And you're going to have gold and silver coins, because if you don't, you're going to be in deep doo-doo.
Well, some are saying, okay, it's a bubble in gold. Well, regardless, then, for investment, that's the
These guys got bubbles in their heads, Alex, believe me. I mean, they don't know what to do. They've been so wrong so often. It's just totally pathetic.
Okay, well, then let's discuss.
No bubble there. I mean, let's take inflation officially since 1980.
We got a break. Got a break. Come back, Bob. We'll be right back after this break with Bob, and he'll give us those numbers. Then we'll play this Ron Paul clip. Go to your phone calls. Bob Chapman, the internationalforecaster.com, is our guest.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
1-800-259-9231. Bob Chapman is our guest today with us 5 minutes into the next hour. Joins us every Friday in the third hour. I just briefly today want to remind listeners that we have a secure online video bookstore shopping cart. There's Patriot T-shirts, all sorts of ways to get the message out about freedom and to identify the globalist. You wear one of our Come and Take It T-shirts or one of our Don't Tread on Me T-shirts or one of our Infowars.com T-shirts. You will meet like-minded people at the golf range or at the movies or at work or at a comedy club or at the grocery store or walking your dog. And that's what we have the T-shirts and ball caps and materials for, and that also funds our operation. So when you're on the site, be sure and check into that. A lot of new T-shirts we've added, a lot of new designs, and, of course, my newest film, Fall of the Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Fall of the Republic is available right now, and people are ready to wake up, but they don't have all the information. This film will give it to them. Fall of the Republic, Infowars.com to get the DVD, or 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. You can also go to prisonplanet.tv if you remember and watch the live TV show that we simulcast on the radio. See all my films in super high quality. Get my book on ebook, Paul Watson's book on ebook, and so much more when you're a prisonplanet.tv member. Let's go ahead now and play this. Well, let's have Bob finish the point he was trying to make. Then I'm going to play this Ron Paul clip and go to your calls. Sorry that the satellite break cuts you off. Those are hard breaks, Bob. Go ahead and finish up your point.
And so official inflation since 1980 would make gold somewhere between $2,400 and $2,500 an ounce. That is the very minimum it should be selling at. My figures for official inflation since then are $6,700 an ounce. John Williams, who you all know, the eminent economist, says it's $7,150 per ounce. And I'm not going to argue with him because he's a better economist than I am. So gold is vastly underpriced.
Absolutely. Gold isn't going up because it's a bubble like oil or some other commodity. It's because the dollar's devalued and people worldwide are trying to get into something that's real and tangible, because all the economists we've talked to have said that as the dollar goes, it's also going to hurt other global currencies and regional currencies. It's just they're not going to be hurt as bad. So there's a flight from currencies into hard assets, isn't there?
That's exactly right. Everybody's going to get hurt in varying degrees. And it's been happening for 6 years. It's nothing new. Every currency in the world has gone down against gold in the last 6 years. And they've all inflated by increasing money and credit and lowering interest rates and getting more money than they've got coming in.
Amazing. What is the federal government going to do as the world starts refusing to buy their T-bills or buy their dollars and other government offerings, as Obama spends more money than all presidents before him combined? That's official. We thought Bush was bad, tripling the size of government. Obama has taken that to a whole new level. Of course, he's just a puppet, but the point is the establishment is doing this. What are they going to do? I guess just run debt up and steal until everything implodes and then have their new banking system as the answer? Won't people see through the fact that the very same banks that engineered the crisis are now posing as the saviors, Bob?
Yes, they will. And it's not going to work unless ultimately they have a currency which is backed by gold. And so going full circle, how are they going to be able to continue to finance the U.S. debt? The Federal Reserve, that private corporation, they have been monetizing debt. That means they've been printing money out of thin air and using it to buy Treasury bonds, agency bonds, which is Fannie, Freddie, and Ginnie and FHA. They've been making swaps with foreign nations, $500 billion at a time. They've injected $12.7 trillion into the financial system just through banking on Wall Street in the last year. We're on the hook for $23.4 trillion if we don't get any of the money back. I mean, the figures are astronomical. They'd be paid for by the great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren of us. And this is how buried we are. And the only way out of this thing is official devaluation, which means gold would have set in a much, much higher price than it is now. And that there would have to be default on debt. And I believe that's going to happen a year and a half to two from now. And I'd like to get Paul Craig's Roberts' view on that because I had him on to be pretty close.
Yeah, I had him on a few weeks ago, and he's beginning to revise his forecast of it being further out. He says that it's beginning to look like it may happen sooner rather than later because the deterioration is accelerating. But I guess we're all here together, and we're going to find out. Here's what Ron Paul had to say yesterday here live with us when I asked him about the death of the dollar. And he said that he thought that would be more incremental, but then he got off into gold. Here's Congressman Ron Paul.
What's going to hurt the economy, I wouldn't say it's abandoned, but it's less important all the time. I mean, the fact that they can still have 60% reserves means it's still there. But the market, I look at the market signals, and I think the thing that happened this week was very, very significant. That is when the IMF announces that they're going to dump 200 tons of gold on the market. Well, ordinarily a person would think, and they were hoping, well, a lot of that gold out there, that's going to drive down the price of gold and make all the fiat currencies look better. But what happened? A bank from Asia, India, buys the whole lot, which sent a signal, I think, to the world markets that, in essence, gold has been remonetized. It never gets demonetized, but it has less importance as money when all the countries reject it. But I think this is a major, major signal that the dollar is getting closer, it's on its last legs, and gold is getting more important. And as the Chinese buy less and less, they have already started buying gold, and they don't want to buy too much too fast and, shoot the price up, too quickly. But I think that's coming. I think the gold price is destined to go a lot higher, and the dollar is going to go a lot lower. And they cannot dethrone gold. They can disrupt and play these games for a long, long time. But in many ways, this is very, very good because it tells us that the governments no longer can get away with just printing money to finance their schemes. And it's their schemes that are so damaging to us, whether it's the welfare or the warfare, it all hurts the people because they have to pay the bills. So some of these things are good signals, although it means that we have to be concerned about the chaos that might erupt.
All right. That was a short snippet of Ron Paul's interview with us live here yesterday. Bob, your comments on that?
Totally along the lines of what Ted Anderson and I have been talking about for a long time. And I agree, and I'm sure Ted does. And I think that we're right on course. My feeling is this thing was all created for a reason. It just didn't happen. And I think there's a point along the way that they had planned to switch from the inflationary depression to the deflationary. And I think that their plans have been so disrupted by your program and programs like it and the International Forecaster and others who not only tell you what's going on in that realm and others, but also the total truth of who's behind it and what they're doing. And your next guest, in a way, is going to be telling you the same thing. I mean, these people on Wall Street are criminals. I know. I've been there. I've done that.
Did you read the McClatchy newspaper and big investigation with an award-winning financial writer actually got the internal Goldman Sachs documents where they planned to sell the housing market derivatives knowing they were going to implode, wanting to bring down Bear Stearns? I remember over a year ago on this show, you said Goldman Sachs has all their people as regulators. They grabbed Bear Stearns for no reason, and some other brokerage firms and investment banks. And you, in fact, yesterday, as I had another guest on and as I covered that article again, I remembered how over a year ago you had said exactly what was happening.